Hey guys, happy Thursday. Today is Thursday, August 15th, 2019. We're at the beautiful Citrus Club in the wine room. And I'm here with my friend Murtice Tucker with the Naval Warrior Foundation. I got it right this time. I didn't have too many R's or take an R away. So before you hear his great story and we talk about the Naval Warrior Foundation, we'd love to know, get a thumbs up. Christine Cabrera is on, who is really close to us, by the way. We want to know you can hear us and see us. Viviana, what's up? Mo's on. Hey guys, so we got a heart, we got a thumbs up. Bill Moore, what's going on, buddy? So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, Ted. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited, and we got to meet because of Christine, who's to our right. Christine's doing a lot of helping for me. She's been a tremendous asset in the
Yes.
She probably feels like 10 years to her, but it's been like 4 days. But anytime I can talk to somebody who does wonderful things for veterans, I appreciate that. So, all right, there's Bill Moore. Give us a little background on you. People like to know a little bit about you. You obviously were not born, and then all of a sudden you have the Naval Warrior Foundation.
Yes. So, originally I am from Chicago, and I'm not afraid to admit that I am a Cubs fan. Okay, despite what anybody might say about it. Okay, world champs. You know, the curse has been broken. But to kind of give everybody an overview of how I got into this, initially, I went into the Marine Corps right out of high school, served as an enlisted person, served in Operation Iraqi Freedom, made my way up through the ranks on the enlisted side until the stage of gunnery sergeant, which is like an E7, and then became a commissioned officer. Now, from being in my experiences within the military, I've came across a lot of great people, some excellent teammates of mine, guys I just absolutely love. But at the same time, from being exposed to certain things, I was also exposed to some of the challenges that are associated with military life, and also some of the challenges that are associated with transitioning out of the service and just into the routine of daily life in the civilian sector. So some of those challenges are kind of what prompted myself and a Navy veteran by the name of Luis Arroyo, who's another co-founder of the organization, to just sit down and say, hey, look, you know what, there's a legitimate problem here, okay? Something that absolutely needs to be addressed.
Great.
That's affecting people, their lives, and their families, to tell you the truth. It's what it really comes down to.
Were you impacted? When you got out, was it difficult for you? How long did you serve?
Right, so I still serve,
You still serve.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
right. That's right.
When everybody does make that shift, there is like a little bit of a twilight zone that we all go through, where it's kind of like, okay, I have an idea of what I want to do, but how do I exactly get there, And,
because they're trained, what we talk about a lot on the show, what happens, and correct me if I'm wrong, what happens, you've got this camaraderie built up.
Correct.
There's an order to everything, absolutely everything. And then you also have this brotherhood, sisterhood, where these people have your back, they risk their lives for you, and you would do the same for them. And then you get out into the real cutthroat rat race world that we all really live in, and you realize that is completely absent for the most part. And so it's very difficult for our veterans to come out and try to figure out how to maneuver through the business, how to take an idea.
Right.
And they also may be, and I want you to talk about this, they may be so incredibly trained at something.
Correct.
And they get out here, and because we're civilians, we have no idea how to translate that into what the job description is.
Yeah, that's completely true. I mean, I see it all the time on my side. You'll have guys who've done all this wonderful work. They'll come out here and, you're looking at the resume and it's like, okay, what is this MOS code that's on here? I don't know what that is. So I always tell guys, put yourself in the place of that hiring manager who knows nothing about the military whatsoever.
Right.
And don't just say, hey, you know what, I was, this kind of commander or whatever. Hey, you know what, I was a senior director. I was a mid-level manager. You want to explain how those skills are transferable.
And they don't always know how to write it in civilian language.
Exactly.
And it's weird that we don't all know that, but like you talked about an E7, and I only am aware of sort of that because I've been blessed to have so many vets on the show. But people, if you put that in your description on your resume, people aren't even going to know what that means.
Exactly.
And I'm afraid that would detract.
Exactly.
So what you're trying to do, what we're all trying to do, when you transition out, you want to figure out how to basically translate from one language to the civilian language so people can see how much amazing experience you have.
Precisely. So that's why we kind of direct a lot of our terms to, senior manager, director, section head, those kind of things that people will understand, whether it's somebody working at Chase or, it's somebody working for another Fortune company.
Right.
They get it.
Right. All right, so you have this idea. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can bring it to fruition. So you have this idea, you want to help vets transition, you want to educate them, there's this whole thought process. How do you make the next move in order to get the foundation established and actually make the contacts? Because it's all great to have an idea,
right?
Then to actually implement it and be able to provide the services that you do for the veterans is a whole nother ballgame.
Certainly. So to give a little bit of background on us, okay? Naval Warrior Foundation, we've been established since 2017, as a nationally recognized 501c3 public charity. We've done a lot of great work over the years with veterans. Our focus is on, Navy and Marine Corps Special Operations veterans. However, we help all veterans within that realm. Okay, to include their enablers, meaning, the guy who was on a team who was a dog handler, or the person who was there who was the intel analyst or counter intel person, whatever, it may be. We help those people, period. Over the years, we've had a lot of great things that we've done for some of these veterans that we've impacted. We have one gentleman, that we assisted, who was a former reconnaissance Marine, wrote a check, sent him to Harvard Business School where he graduated his program of study there and moved on, to an MBA program at another university that we're in a good relationship with.
So you're trying to get, so when they come to you, thank you, Lisa, when they come to you and they want help, they want to figure out, you're actually, one of the things you do is you're trying to help them get into a certification program, a management
Correct.
program at the different universities, different colleges, based on what their interests are and or maybe their experience.
Absolutely. So let me go a little bit into what we do and how we do it, so everybody gets a clear understanding of how that works. So we'll have an individual come to us, for assistance. The process is very simple. They come to us, they sign up, and then, we have to check our boxes on our side to make sure that, you are who you say you are,
right.
Which for us is very, very simple to do, very easy, because we don't want our resources going in the wrong place. We want to go into the people who actually deserve it, first and foremost. So once we get that out of the way, the staff or I, we reach out and we say, hey, brother, look, here's what we're going to do for you. Tell me what you're expecting that next step to be. Tell me, what you foresee that next stage in life to be. And once we establish that, now we start throwing resources and tools their way. Now we start doing the career development piece. Now we start hooking them with the appropriate executive coach who's going to take them under their wing and give them the proper guidance to say, all right, this is the industry you want to go into. I've been working in this industry for many years, have been successful. Here's a day of life for me. Here's what you should expect coming in the door. Here's what I foresee for you to be successful. Then in addition to that, okay, we have, 9 beautiful high-ranking universities that we have an excellent relationship that we have partnered with. University of Notre Dame, Florida Institute of Technology, Villanova, Cornell, so many others, okay? And we strive to place that individual within the proper program, whatever the school may be. So if somebody's looking at some kind of, supply chain, management certificate program, because keep in mind, a lot of these guys do come out, being college educated, having MBAs or advanced degrees, but they might need this certificate, more likely than not, okay, to advance themselves above the competition.
Well, they also don't have the connections. What I feel like you do, you're helping them. Okay, I've got this training, I've got this certification, I've got this degree. Now I need to figure out how to get out there. It's not easy if you have no other connections except your military connections.
Correct.
So you help them get into the school, figure out how to maneuver through that whole minutia of school and management certifications, and then you also have the job place. You have the people who want to mentor them at the end,
which opens up the doors, for that gainful employment opportunity at the end. And going back to again, what we also do, we work very closely with the Florida Institute of Technology to provide assessment tools, for these veterans.
Love it.
So they just don't come in the door and say, okay, you know what, I want to be an HR manager. Okay, you're going to sit down and you're going to take this assessment, and it's going to say, hey, look, I'm kind of introverted, so I don't know
Right.
if I might be able to say, hey, this is the new HR policy, sign right here. If you got a problem with it, we can have a conversation to address it, So we want to make sure that those assessments are being done properly to determine this is really a good fit for me.
Correct.
And then on the back side of that, once they take that assessment, they have a professional on the other side of the FIT to sit with them and go through it and break it down and say, okay, this is what this assessment basically says, and this is how it pertains to you.
Right.
This way when they're walking into a door, to be a, airline pilot or whatever it is, okay, we know that, hey, you know what, based upon the desires of your heart, your intellect, and this assessment tool, this is awesome. This is a good direction for you, and you get that mentor piece to come along and say, all right.
Mentor piece is so
and
critical,
it's
right?
very critical, very critical.
I think what happens, so I've had some people on who do specifically for a particular industry do mentorship based on the training, right? Because the training in the armed services is super unique, honestly, especially on a technician side. And the difficulty was finding how to get from point A to point B. And then finding the support system, because it's all well and good that we have people that are advocates and allies for our veterans, but the regular world as we know it isn't as forgiving or as accepting, and so you have to find the right people within those organizations,
Yes.
which is also a big deal, a huge big deal when you're getting out and you have no idea what to do. You have zero idea where to go.
Exactly. And that's part of why we also work very hard to expand our relationships, not just within academia, with the universities that we work with, okay, but also out there with those hiring managers, just so we can say, look, all right, here's what we have to offer by giving you these people.
Yeah.
We have extremely talented people who just don't know when to tap the table and say die. So they will do tremendous things for you. They will burn the midnight oil and stay up until 3 a.m. to make sure that that meeting the next day in front of whoever or the merger goes right.
Which is worth its weight in gold. I think
Absolutely.
That's the thing, trying to get them to the civilian life, the regular business world, so to speak, to try to get them to understand how amazing that dedication and loyalty is, because in this day and age it's very difficult to find. But my experience with any veterans that have come out, exactly what you're saying, there's this, I'm going to burn the midnight oil. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm actually going to do it.
Yeah.
And you're not having to follow up with them. It's trying to give them a chance to get in when their resume may not look like the rest of the resumes that are out there that fit the cookie cutter job description that the HR department put out.
Correct. And a lot of things that come with us are certain things that are innate, especially to that community of veteran. It's that extreme fear of failure. And it's not about failure, okay? It's about failing the person next to you,
Right.
okay? It's about having a knowledge, an intimate understanding, if you will, that, this person can depend on me as much as I can depend on him. And it's never a second thought. It's never a question in the back of my mind or anybody's mind, hey, is this guy going to pull me to safety? Are we going to get to the finish line together? Of course. I got the finest people in the world standing next to me, and there's nothing to worry about. My job is not to worry about me. It is to worry about them. And that's something that never goes away.
And I think most of the corporate world they're leery of and question that selflessness that our veterans come out with. It's a kind of a foreign thing for them, and so that also throws them off a little bit. They're like, what do you mean you're going to do whatever you have to do? Most people come in here and go, well, here's my degree, I need you to pay me X amount of money, and I don't really care. Right. The veterans come out, and I'm generalizing, not all of you people who apply don't care, but I'm generalizing on veterans. Oh, I'll get messages later.
Sure.
On veterans, because my experience with our vets is that they have that dedication and devotion, and it's just when you see that selflessness out in the real world, quote unquote, it's for some people it's unnerving. They don't know what to do with it. They have no idea how to respond to it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like seeing a unicorn in the room too.
It really
is. It truly is. That dedication goes above and beyond. And it's not just so much that, also, you have to relay into it also that it's also a sense of ownership.
Right.
Like if these guys are going to take their name and attach it to a job, that job is going to be above bar. It is going to be the best thing they've ever seen. And it doesn't matter if this is the first time I've done it. All right, I'm going to give it my all.
Correct.
And one thing I've learned, and I will be very honest with you, and I carry this with me to this day. Okay, the largest room in the world is the room for improvement. Right. So even if you're 100% today, guess what? You're going to find a way to be better than you were yesterday, tomorrow, next week, and the month after that.
Right.
And that's what these guys bring to the table.
And so what also happens too is they have that approach. So our veterans go out, let's say they get the job, right? Mm-hmm. They go through the program, they get the job, you guys help them.
Right.
And then their idea, because they have been in the trenches, is that everybody else around them has that same selflessness approach to things.
Yes.
And so it's a giant transition to realize that you may be for everyone else, but not everyone else is for you. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that's got the people who have gone out, the ones who I feel like have transitioned out into the civilian life in a good way. They said that their biggest struggle was realizing that this isn't me and my brothers and sisters in arms. This is me out in corporate world, and I may have this work ethic and this integrity, but I can't count on everyone else to have it like you can in the military.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that goes along with that process as well. But we have guys who, again, highly talented, and know how to shift gears, know how to work independently, and just get things done. Very results driven. One gentleman we helped, former Force Reconnaissance Marine, came to us, helped him out, did tremendous work with him. Now, he's a consultant with a major Fortune company, doing great things. And there's also programs with some of these companies that help with the veterans transition. Now, some not as good as others, okay?
Right.
But some very good, very top-notch, top of the line. And programs like that, and I don't want to drop any names right now, but I might give a special recognition to Deloitte.
Right. It's okay to do that.
And they do great work, for the veteran space, coming out with the transition programs that they offer and the seminars that they have. But again, we also strive, as I was saying earlier, not to just make the connections with academia, which is very important.
Right.
We need those employer connections. We need those HR connections. And most importantly, the veteran outreach programs, within the big companies are usually ran by who? Other vets who understand the process. Other vets who say, okay, I could read this resume. I know this guy was a tank driver because of the, numeric code he put in there accidentally or whatever. But you know what? I like him. I'll bring him in my office. We'll have a chat and then we'll see what he can do. It's opportunities like that we strive for. Because at the end of the day, we want everybody to succeed.
So let me I have a question about what we can do next as far as and the employer part. Mm-hmm. But yes, Lisa, it's definitely, I think it's the generic guys, like when I say, hey guys, it's guys and gals. Yes, it's all of our brothers and sisters, his brothers and sisters, and I feel like they're all of ours because we should treat them like family. So it's guys and girls.
Yes.
And
it's good you bring that up too, because one of the people we have assisted, was one of the first women to actually pass Marine Special Operations training. So
wow.
We work with men and women because again, there are women working within these communities. On SEAL teams, they have women who are in intelligence, So we work with everybody,
right.
To make sure that, this class of veterans are out here succeeding, doing the best, and carrying on their purpose, and that's what we found to be very important for them.
So what can the community do to get involved? What can the community do to assist you? Because obviously anytime you have a foundation like this, mm-hmm. you've got to 100% have people who are supporting you, but you always need more, which is what the show's about, bringing out awareness.
Correct.
I think a lot of people watch these shows, the ones who do, they already know about the veterans, but they still don't know exactly what they can do. So what can the community do to help?
Right. So that's a very important question, okay? But quite simply, it just comes down to two words: get involved. And there's different levels of involvement, okay? Reach out to us, okay? Become an executive coach for one of these guys, especially if you have, many years of experience, whether it's in banking, construction management, or what have you. It doesn't really matter, but reach out and volunteer to become one of those executive coaches. If you're in academics, and you have a veterans outreach program that is top of the line, okay? Fully accredited, the kind of good things that we look for,
right.
And that's gonna serve these guys, reach out. We're happy to explore the opportunity and see if it's a good fit. Corporate sponsors, open up your doors, give us a peek behind the curtain. If we have somebody who's interested, in working at a major financial institution or whatever, bring them in, show them around and say, okay, look, you know what, I know you express interest in this particular area, whether it's oil and gas or whatever. Let me show you what a day in the life looks like. Let me show you what we actually do. Those things are important.
What do you do? What do you all do to reach out to the community? Do you have events? Do you have
yes.
Job fair? What is it that you all do
right.
to get them involved?
So basically, we have events, ongoing, but a lot of what we do is shaking the ground, directly reaching out to companies, HR managers, making those connections and saying, hey, look, what can you guys do, for this community? And I know there's, questions out there that's, hey, you guys should do this for everybody. Look, we want to help as many people as we can, but to be honest, within this space, you have to stay very focused. You can't get off mission too much. So if there's certain things that we cannot do or certain population event that, we just don't work with, there's plenty of organizations that we affiliate with that we can direct them to for the proper assistance.
Do you have an event coming up? Do you have anything coming up that we can latch on to? Like what? Because the community I know wants to get involved. Mm-hmm. And then but a lot of times the easiest way to do that is either at an event or at a job fair. Or,
yes.
I don't know,
mm-hmm.
but I think that figuring out how the community can engage with you and how you engage with the community is super important.
Right. So we're having events coming up here, looking like in the fall, okay, towards the end of the year, all right, to raise awareness, of course, about the good work we do. In the meantime, what people can do, to get involved, they can go ahead and they can check us out, and visit us. So if anybody out there, just go ahead and text Team NWF, to 41444. You can learn about what we do. You can also check us out on the internet at navalwarriors.org, and you can take a look at all the programs that we have, some of the stuff we do, and also contact us to become involved, as a corporate sponsor or, as a, volunteer coach or what have you.
All right, so before I start asking questions like wrapping it up, Christine, is there anything that we've missed? Christine's over there, she's our producer for the day. Is there anything we've missed question-wise?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, all right. So we're gonna share all of Murtice's contact information, how you can get involved in the Navy Warrior Foundation, the text, hashtag, and everything like that when we share the post. It'll be there, so you don't have to write it all down. Because I think it's super important. We'd love to engage more. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Steve. And I promise you that he will get into your questions and respond to you after this show. All right, so we always like to talk about mentors, right? And you mentioned that word a few times. Mentors are super important to what we're doing with the show and with Ted's community. And I know it's so important when they are transitioning out to have somebody. And you obviously engage mentors for your executive coaching. How about you personally? Can you give me a mentor or two that was impactful in your life?
Yeah, I've had many good people, within my life who have shaped me to become the person I am. But like anything good, it all starts in the home. So I remember, waking up as a teenager, last year of school, and, I had this wonderful woman come into my room in the morning and say, hey, you know what, it's time to get up. If you want to do what you want to do in life, then you know what you need to do. Finish your last semester, don't fail, don't be stupid, so,
right.
And that was all that really needed to be said. Nobody had to bang a trash can to wake me up or anything. It was just very simple. If you want to get from point A to point B, you know what you need to do, and you know where your shoes are. So again, within the home, that was like my strongest foundation.
Was that mom?
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
I wasn't sure. Sometimes it's grandma, sometimes it's aunt. Okay, yeah, so it's good to recognize your mentors, guys. It's good for you to get involved. This is a great way if you're out there in the business world and you want to help the veterans out, you want to help the Naval Warrior Foundation out. It's your time, which is so valuable, and your expertise, but think about the impact that you will make on a transitioning out of the service into the crazy world that we all live in the corporate world. Such a beautiful thing that you can do, and you already have all of the knowledge. We're going to share again all of Murtice's contact information and everything else. Thank you so much for being on the show.
And thank you. And if we have time, I'd like to extend a special thanks to some of the people who have supported us along the way.
Please do.
We couldn't have done a lot of the great things we do without Launchable helping us out with some of the stuff they do, without the Pulakakis family doing the things they do, the Doris Jimenez's of the world, the Mark Denkers of the world, the Frank Casanos, all these great people and organizations who have come together to make us who we are today. We want to extend a special thanks to you, and there's many others on that list, and that list will continue to grow, as we, stay the path on this noble journey.
Awesome. All right. See, you got through it. It was great. The Naval Warrior Foundation, and it's navalwarriorfoundation.org. There's also a Facebook page. We tagged it all, but we are going to share it once again. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys later.
It's a
Mwah.
pleasure.
Have a wonderful
Thank you much.
Thursday. See you later.